Conservative New Media viewers, Jeremy Lin fans around the world, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFE Paul Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Charlotte's 97-84 victory tonight against the New York Knicks in Charlotte, North Carolina. With the win, Charlotte improves to 21-23 on the season. New York drops to 22-24. Let's go over the statistics very quickly. Derek Williams led the Knicks with 19 points and 14 rebounds off the bench. Aaron Aflalo, 10 points. Robin Lopez, 10 points. Kristaps Porzingis, 13 points, 4 rebounds. Charlotte got 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists from Kemba Walker. P.J. Hairston with a career-high 20 points to go along with his 10 rebounds. And finally, Jeremy Lin, 26 points. Jeremy played 40 minutes in this game, shot 7 of 17 from the field, including 2 of 5 from three-point range, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, no steals, 1 block shot, 5 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, and Jeremy's plus-minus was a plus 23, which was the best on the team. The reason why Charlotte won this game was because they crushed the Knicks in the third quarter. They outscored them 32-13. That was Jeremy's best quarter of the game as well in terms of efficiency units. And it got a little tight in the fourth quarter. The lead got down to 10 points after it had been 21 points. But unlike what happened to Orlando yesterday against the Hornets, Charlotte stiffened up. They clamped down on defense and hit some key shots when they needed to, and they were able to hold on for a very great victory tonight over the New York Knicks. Now I'll do the woo, so we'll count down to the woo, which is a loud noise. 3, 2, 1. Woo! This was a really important win because it's the third win in the last 4 games for the Hornets. They're starting to turn things around, and it's going to be difficult because the upcoming games are on the road, like the next 4 or 5 games, and Charlotte's really having some injury issues right now. Of course, Al Jefferson and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist are both out, but also out for tonight's game were Jeremy Lamb with the toe, Nick Batum with his toe, and Cody Zeller, who is dealing with an injured shoulder. So they're really getting thin on the bench, or the Hornets, and that's why it's so great to see them being able to pull out these victories. This is just great. If they're able to hang in and, like I said, try to get to 500 in this kind of easier stretch in the schedule, then as the guys start coming back from injury, then you could really see a surge by this team. So this was a terrific victory tonight, and Jeremy was crucial for this victory, as you might imagine, with him scoring 26 points. The truth is, Jeremy was the best player in this game, and I'm not taking anything away from Kemba, who also scored 26 points. Kemba was tired in a lot of this game. And that makes sense given how much energy he spent in last night's game. And let me say this before I forget it, because somebody mentioned this in the comments of the Orlando game, and they were 100% right. And I missed it when it happened. And the commenter was John Bowie, who said it. In the Orlando video, I said I wasn't exactly sure why Jeremy didn't play more in the fourth quarter of the game. The reason why I said that was I didn't realize when I made the majority of the video, I looked at the very end of the video, I didn't realize that the Hornets were playing tonight and that they had a back-to-back. So what Steve Clifford was trying to do was rest his starters for tonight's game, basically giving up on the game yesterday. That's exactly what happened, and John Bowie was 100% right about that. And it ended up not happening because Kemba Walker didn't want to come out of the game last night at the end of the third quarter, even though the Hornets were down by 15 points. He's like, no, don't take me out. I want to stay in. And fortunately, Kemba was right. The game wasn't over, and Charlotte ended up winning the game. However, the other starters were being rested for much of that period of time. And the bench was leading the comeback, and the bench was the guys who made the comeback, except for Marvin Williams late into that game. So that's why Steve Clifford didn't put Jeremy Lin back into the game last night. He wanted to rest him, and then the bench made the comeback, so you stay with the bench because they're the ones who did the comeback, and they're on a good roll, and you stay with them, and that's exactly what Clifford did, and it ended up working out. Now, so Kemba was tired tonight because of that. He was fatigued, and he really didn't shoot the ball well for most of this game, particularly in the first half. But look, he did play well late, and that's when they needed him. However, what that meant is that most of this game, I'd say for the first three quarters, was basically Jeremy Lin show. He was doing everything for the Hornets. He ran the offense, he was scoring, he was passing, he did everything. And what's great about this team, and we touched on it last night, is there's no jealousy on this team. So Kemba is tired, and he will let Jeremy Lin run the team, knowing that Jeremy can do it. And Steve Clifford trusts Jeremy, and that worked. Jeremy he trusts him, and Jeremy is able to perform. And so you get situations like this. As I mentioned in recent videos, the team is not set up to feature Jeremy Lin. It's not constructed, it's not coached in such a way for Jeremy Lin to be the star. And as I've said in the video last night, I'm actually okay with that because it's helping Jeremy to grow as a player in different ways. But tonight, when Nick Batum is out of the game, when he's one of the featured guys, and Kemba Walker is tired, then it's Jeremy Lin's time. And that's exactly what happened tonight. And Jeremy showed everything that he's capable of doing tonight. The only thing negative you can say about Jeremy tonight was the turnovers. And to be honest with you, I thought at least one of them should have been like it was a pass to somebody and they should have caught the pass. And then a couple, like 2 or 3 of the turnovers came at the end of the game. And at that point, Jeremy was tired from playing back-to-back and playing 40 minutes tonight. And the game was a little bit out of hand. So he wasn't kind of let his guard down a little bit. Now, sure, of course, we don't want that to happen. But really, I really can't criticize that on him. A couple of the plays were travels where he dribbled before he moved his feet before he dribbled. And that's a lot of times that happens when you're tired. Just kind of a mental mistake and you're just mentally tired. Jeremy attacked. He had 10 free throws in this game. He was smart. He shot the three-pointer well. Really, he's playing extremely well. And I said this on Twitter. And we'll go over quarter by quarter, but I just want to do the summary now. Jeremy is learning how to play in a system. And in a system that's not designed for him. And that's, I've mentioned this previously. That's really important for his development. Basically, Jeremy does well when he has the ball in his hand and he's running pick and roll. That's kind of the book or the scouting report on Jeremy Lin in the past. But now he's learning to play well when he doesn't have the ball in his hand and he's not just playing pick and roll. And as his shooting comes around from three-point range, and it will, then he's going to be able to do everything. Then he's going to be able to do even more than what he's doing right now. But this is these are really important growing stages for his career. And I know a lot of people that don't see it, or they want him to just do pick and roll and et cetera, game after game and be the focus. But he's really improving as a player, and it's going to help him tremendously. I do think there's a good chance that he won't be back in Charlotte next year. Although, we'll see. We will see. It doesn't matter to me. It's up to him, obviously. He likes Charlotte, and he likes the coaches a lot, and he likes his teammates a lot. So he could be. Whatever happens, certainly this experience and this season is going to help him tremendously. He's just becoming a much more complete player right now, a better player, a calmer player, and just, he's getting away from the nonsense of the last 3 years. It's just great. And like I said, it's hard to see all of it. You have to really understand what's going on to see it. It's almost like it's a caterpillar in the cocoon. You can't see what's happening. It's not obvious, but he is definitely improving, really improving. And I've mentioned it before, including this season. When Jeremy's not playing his best, he does a little too much, or he tries to do too much, or he tries to play Jeremy ball as opposed to system ball. And he's getting less and less like that. And that's going to help him tremendously. That is really going to help him as his career goes forward. So I'm thrilled, and tonight was like the culmination of everything. He was able to control the ball, control the offense. He did it great. He set people up really, really well. And he was able to score when he wanted to score, essentially. So this was just a complete outing for him. And it's great to see. And certainly the team needed it. They needed him to do this tonight, or they probably would have lost this game. And I'm just, like I said, I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier than how I feel right now with just how things are for Jeremy right at this point in time of the season. And look, as far as the team, they're back on the ascent. They're back on the ascent after all the struggles that they've had over the last 15, 20 games. They're starting to figure it out. And they're seeing that their bench for them really can come through, which it has the last couple of games. And they need that. They need that a lot. And so things look good. Okay, let's do quarter by quarter. We'll start here in the first quarter. Jeremy started the game. It was his 8th start of the season because Nick Batum was out, as I mentioned. So with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist out, and whenever Nick Batum doesn't start, that means Jeremy's going to start. So that might be different when Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is back, but for now, that's the way it works. And so Nick wasn't able to play tonight, and so that meant Jeremy Lin got the start. Michael Jordan was in the house, and you could see him sitting in his little seat right beside the Hornets bench, and looked like most of the night he was sitting beside Nick Batum, who was rocking this like three-piece plaid suit, which looked pretty slick, gray and it's mostly gray with I think white stripes. So it was pretty cool. Jeremy Lamb didn't play, as I mentioned, so definitely a shorthanded squad. Jeremy began the game playing really good defense against Aaron Aflalo. Aaron Aflalo was trying to post him up. This was Jeremy's playing shooting guard, and so the opposing team is going to try to pick on him because he's relatively short for a shooting guard. It didn't work on the first play. Then they did it again, and Jeremy fouled Aaron Aflalo, so I guess that on that sequence it was successful for the Knicks. Soon after that, Jeremy missed his first shot of the game, which was a three-pointer from right about the top of the arc, a little bit to the left of the rim and a bit long. So that was the first attempt of his for the game. Then he got a blown assist on a nice play with Kemba. if you are familiar with B-ball breakdowns videos, Coach Nick has talked a lot in the past about the offensive set known as horns, which on a horns play, it is one guy drives on one side of the basket, and the other guy who doesn't have the ball breaks towards the basket on the other side. And that's why it's called horns. It's basically the way the play goes with those two players, the way that their movement looks like two horns on the top of a head. And I don't think that the play was a designed horns set, but that's what it looked like. I think Kemba just made a break for the basket. So Jeremy goes down the right side of the basket. Kemba breaks on the left side. Jeremy gave him a pass. Unfortunately, Kemba wasn't able to convert the layup, but that was excellent synergy between those two. And they continue to work and get better playing off one another. And that was, I thought that was, I'd never seen him do that play before. And so I'm just happy to see their chemistry continues to develop and improve. Knicks went up 10-4, and right after that took place, Jeremy had his first score of the game. He came on, there was a screen set for him on the right side of the free throw line, right around that area. He came off of the screen. It was like a little curl play, grab the ball, catch and shoot, hit it from that area. After that, he then got his second score of the game, driving from the left-hand side of the court towards the right-hand side of the court. He hit a layup and was fouled on that play. For the and one, he made the free throw. That cut New York's lead down to 14-9. Then, also middle of the first quarter, then Jeremy shot a short floater over Robin Lopez, which missed, so that made him 2 for 4 shooting for the night. Going into the late in the first quarter, he then had his first assist, which he passed out to Frank Kaminsky for a made three-pointer. That cut New York's lead down to 17-14. Soon after that play, he got his third score of the game. He came off of a curl. He came off, kind of like a hook play. He gets the ball. I think it was on pick and roll with someone. He wanted to pass the ball, but the pass wasn't available, and so he was coming down right about the middle of the lane, and he shot a nice little kind of high floater jump shot that went in, and that made the score 17-6, 16 for the Knicks. Right after that, they called a timeout, did the Knicks. At the end of one quarter, 22-20 New York. Jeremy had 7 points on 3 of 5 shooting. So he had an excellent first quarter. That would be, I believe, his second best quarter of the night behind the third quarter. Early in the second, Jeremy was still playing at this point in time. He came out with about 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. So Clifford wanted to get him a little bit of rest just because he knew he was going to have to play him heavy minutes tonight. That's what he was figuring he was going to have to do, which is exactly what ended up happening. And so you have to get breaks for these guys when you can, and that's why Steve Clifford took him out late in the first quarter. But Jeremy was back in to start the second quarter. He missed his third. He had his third miss of the game early in the second quarter. He was took a pull-up jump shot off of another one of these curl screens, running a curl behind a screen. Kind of to the right of the low post area. He put extra arc on the shot because he thought that the defender was going to come out and challenge his shot, which didn't end up happening. Like the defender faked that he was going to come out and challenge Jeremy's shot. That forced Jeremy to put more arc on the shot because it might have been Robin Lopez. Whoever it was that did it was a very tall player. And so Jeremy expected he was going to have to shoot over them, but he didn't, and so the shot ended up being a little bit short because he put the extra arc on it. Then he made a nice pass into Tyler Hansbrough, which is what I refer to as an assist for a foul. Jeremy gets the ball to the player. They're going to score, but they end up being fouled rather than the opponent allowing them to score. At this point in time, the lineup for the Hornets was Brian Roberts playing point guard, Jeremy playing shooting guard, Troy Daniels at small forward, Frank Kaminsky playing power forward, and Tyler Hansbrough playing center. Jeremy had his fourth miss of the night, still early here in the second. He went up for kind of, I believe, a scoop, or just for a layup, and you could see that he felt he was fouled, and they did not call a foul, so it just ended up being charged as a missed shot attempt. Excuse me. Then he had another unconverted assist to Troy Daniels for a three-pointer. Kicked the ball out to Troy, just was not able to hit the shot. And I made the note then that says, I like that Jeremy is playing as part of a system rather than just Jeremy ball without pick and roll. So like I said, Jeremy needs to be able to play in as many different ways as possible. Because no matter what system he's put in, no matter who his teammates are, no matter who the coach is, you can adapt to anything. You can play any style, any way. Of course, Jeremy prefers playing fast tempo pick and roll because that's what he's best at. But the more things you can do, the more success you're going to have under any scenario. So I'm just, like I said earlier, I'm really happy that he's doing that. Jeremy then had his fifth missed shot of the game. He got the ball on a catch and shoot from three-point range in the left corner of the court. He felt he was fouled on the shot. And what it looked like happened was it looked like the defender hit him on the elbow. Sometimes defenders will end up getting their hands on the shooter's elbow. And sometimes it's inadvertent and sometimes it's deliberate. If you can push or just tap a guy on the elbow when they're shooting, that often will be enough to make them miss the shot. And I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't see the play up close, so I can't say whatever. But Jeremy definitely felt like he was fouled on the shot. You could kind of see him complaining to the referee a little bit after the shot was missed. Okay. Then the Charlotte announcers were talking about how good Troy Daniels is at shooting and how good he is at scoring. And that made the lead announcer ask Del Curry, who was one of the analysts, well, if Troy Daniels is so good at scoring, why is P.J. Hairston playing before him? Why is P.J. Hairston ahead of him on the depth chart? And Del Curry said, well, he's bigger and stronger, but also said, as we've mentioned before, Steve Clifford is a defense-first coach. So you have to play defense for Steve Clifford to get high up on the depth chart. Which is, look, it's worked out great for Jeremy because I believe that Steve Clifford thinks Jeremy is a better defender than Jeremy Lamb is, which he is. And that's one of the main reasons, I believe, that Jeremy Lin is playing more minutes than Jeremy Lamb is. So you have to know what your coach wants. Steve Clifford wants defense, and you play defense, you're gonna play. And that's basically what Del Curry was saying right there. Continuing on here early in the second quarter, Jeremy got his second assist of the game. This one was a nice kick out to P.J. Hairston for a made three-pointer. Just terrific. Like I said, Jeremy was doing a great job alternating between scoring and passing, really mixing it up well. And most of the passes that he was making were off of drives, meaning he was getting into New York's defense and collapsing it and then kicking the ball out. It's much easier to make shots when you're getting them off of that type of play. Steve Clifford mentions this all the time in his press conferences. You want to break the defense down, then kick the ball out for shots because then guys are wide open. And Jeremy was doing a really nice job of doing that. Really nice tonight. Okay. Then I made the note that says all that's left for Jeremy now is to hit 3-pointers. But, of course, he ended up shooting 40% from three-point land tonight. But as I said, he's playing great. What he's not doing, and I know a lot of fans aren't always happy about this, what Jeremy is not trying to do right now is he's not trying to take over games. He's not trying to be the man. And that's good. Not because we don't want Jeremy to be the man, but because we don't want him to always have to play that style or to feel like he must always play that style. Remember when Jeremy went to Houston, the first year he was in Houston? Or it was actually after that, and he did his testimony in Taiwan. What did he say? He said he felt like he had to be the savior of Houston basketball. Well, when you feel like that, you always feel like there's pressure on you to be the guy constantly. And when you're under that much pressure, you'll make mistakes, or you won't make passes to teammates, or you won't play within the system. And now Jeremy's getting away from that, and trust me, that's a good thing. Jeremy can still be the man when he wants to be. But when he's going to be able to play better, and he's going to be able to have a longer career, and he's going to just fit in with more systems when he doesn't feel like he must be the guy. And that's what he's done in recent games. He's stepped back on offense. But that's made him more efficient. He's using less energy, and he's playing better. And like I said, like tonight, he could still do it. He just doesn't have to do it all the time. And that's good. That's actually, it's a very good thing. Okay, middle of the second here, Jeremy got his fourth made shot of the game. The Hornets were taking the ball out of bounds. They were inbounding the ball, and it was underneath their basket. So, the guy's standing fairly close to the basket. Jeremy cut to the basket, got the ball, shot up a nice little layup with his left hand. Terrific play, and a good play by the inbounder as well. They got him the ball in the right spot. I then made a note that says Kemba Walker has no legs, meaning that Kemba was tired. You could clearly see he was tired. His shot was off. He just didn't have his energy. The best way to know a guy is tired is when their shot is short. And Kemba's shot looked consistently short tonight and off. He just didn't have energy, which makes sense given how he performed last night. And that's why Jeremy had to be the man tonight, and he did it, which was, he came through well tonight. Jeremy was then fouled. I believe he was fouled on the perimeter. But the New York was over the penalty, which meant 2 free throws for Jeremy Lin, which he made both of them. And when Jeremy was fouled here, you could hear a woman with a pretty thick Southern accent say, "Don't be hurting Lin now. Don't be hurting Lin." As in, they was basically talking to the Knicks player, like, don't be hurting Jeremy. Don't hurt Jeremy. This is just hilarious because you could hear it pretty clearly on the Charlotte broadcast. So, obviously, Lin's a fan favorite. Everybody likes Jeremy, and, that's essentially what that woman was saying. Then Stephanie Reddy, who is the other analyst for the Hornets broadcast, said right around the same time about Jeremy, because he gets fouled so much, quote, "That dude just keeps going," unquote. Meaning, Lin's tough. He gets hit all the time. He gets bloody noses all the time. He gets thrown on the floor all the time, but he just keeps going. It just keeps moving and keeps scoring and keeps playing. And that's exactly what he does. And that's how he's gotten this far in his career and gotten to the level that he has gotten to, because he does keep going. Late in the second, Jeremy forced a Knicks turnover. He basically got Aaron Aflalo to travel, and you could hear Coach Clifford cheering on Jeremy when he made the play. Then he had his third assist of the game. He passed the ball to Spencer Hawes for a little short jump shot. Then another unconverted assist, kicked the ball out to Spencer Hawes for a three-point shot that was wide open. Spencer missed it. It happens, but I just made the note again that says Jeremy's just doing a great job running the team. I mean, guys were getting wide open looks. Jeremy was just setting them up perfectly off of dribble drives. Then he had his sixth miss of the contest. He did a pick and roll with Spencer Hawes, and he wanted to pass the ball to Spencer rather than shoot the ball. But Spencer kind of lost his balance, and Jeremy was forced to take the shot, which was a little bit short. Then Derek Fisher got a technical for the Knicks, and Jeremy was the one that was chosen to shoot the technical, and he converted that. He then had his first turnover of the game. This is late in the second. This was a little wraparound pass, kind of passing the ball around an opponent's body to Spencer that, quite honestly, Spencer should have caught the ball. But he wasn't ready for it, and he missed it. Then Marvin Williams was starting to hold his wrist, like he hurt his wrist. And hopefully Marvin's okay, because they can't afford too many more injuries, and Marvin's really important. So hopefully he'll be all right. Jeremy then picked up his second foul of the game. I think he was guarding Aaron Aflalo, and then he had his second turnover of the game, which was just a bad play by Jeremy. He thought Spencer Hawes was going to be in a certain location, and Spencer didn't move to that location, and like the pass wasn't even close to him. So it was Jeremy's mistake, and just that it happens. And then he came out of the game very late, like with about 45 seconds left in the second quarter. And the reason why Steve Clifford did it was he didn't want Jeremy to get his third foul. I'm almost positive that's why he did it. So we went into halftime. Charlotte up 45-43. Jeremy had 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And as I mentioned, he was playing great. He, I believe, was the lead scorer in the game at that point in time. And so he was getting it done for Charlotte. He was definitely the best player on the floor for them in that half. Moving on to the third quarter, one of Charlotte's assistants. I should also say that Jeremy was interviewed at halftime. You know, as the team goes into the locker room, sometimes they'll interview a player. And so Del Curry interviewed Jeremy because he was kind of like the player of the half. And Jeremy essentially said, look, got to be careful because these guys have 2 shot blockers, so it's hard to get to the rim. And Del asked him about getting fouled all the time, and Jeremy's like, well, look, I have a hard head, and I always lead with my head on drives, so, I'm used to it. I'm used to getting hit. And he just kind of laughed it off, so it was funny, and Del liked it, so it was good stuff. Okay, so coming out of halftime, then one of the assistant coaches was interviewed, and he just basically said, look, we got to get rebounds. We really got to work hard to get rebounds, and we've got to kind of keep them out of the low post area when we're defending them. So he said that. Then he drew another offensive foul, did Jeremy, against Aaron Aflalo. Aaron Aflalo had already hit Jeremy or done something and drawn a foul when he was trying to post up Jeremy, and now he did it again. So that was very good work by Jeremy there. Then he was fouled. He cut on the left baseline. So he was in the left corner, and he broke towards the basket. He received the ball, and he went for a layup, and he was fouled. 2 free throws made both of them. That made the score 52-45 for the Hornets. Jeremy soon after had his 7th miss of the game. He got an isolation play against Carmelo Anthony. He took the jump shot over Carmelo and just missed it from right around the free throw line area. It was a really nice looking play. Just the shot just didn't quite go down. Moving on to middle of the third quarter, then Jeremy had his 5th scorer of the game. He was a catch and shoot 3 from Kemba Walker in transition. So the Hornets are breaking down the court. Kemba's kind of running the middle of the floor. Jeremy's running the right-hand side of the floor. Kemba with a nice feed over to Jeremy. Jeremy takes a three-pointer from about 35 degrees right of the top of the arc, and he nailed it. That was an excellent play between those two. Soon after, Jeremy had his 6th score of the game. He blew by whoever was guarding him. Blew by him, Jeremy going to his right, and nobody was defending the basket, and Jeremy got a nice layup. And that was in super fast first step. I said that on Twitter when it happened. Jeremy saw it, nobody was back there. And his man was too close to him. He wasn't giving Jeremy enough room. And that was a mistake on defense, meaning that if Jeremy got a step on him, that was it. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And Jeremy still has the first step. I mean, he still has that blazing fast first step, and he put it to work there. Soon after, Jeremy had his 5th assist of the game. At this point in time, Jeremy was on a roll. Just getting on a nice little, really good roll. And New York was starting to double team him. And so P.J. Hairston's man, I believe, came off of P.J. to come double team Jeremy. Jeremy saw it. P.J. broke towards the basket on the right baseline. Jeremy found him, and that became a easy P.J. Hairston layup. That made the score 59-50. And look, like I said, this was Jeremy's best quarter, and he was rolling, and the team was rolling with him. Okay. Moving on late in the third, Jeremy was fouled, driving to the basket, 2 free throws, made both of them. Then had his 8th miss of the game. They ran another one of these little curl plays for Jeremy. Again, just running like in a hook fashion. He got a scoop layup right at the basket, and he just shot it a little bit short. He was afraid that the shot was going to get challenged, which it was. He just left it slightly short. It was a great play, and it was a nice play called by the Hornets. Then he had a play where he ran a pick and roll with Tyler Hansbrough, and all the attention came to Jeremy. Basically, he was double teamed off the pick and roll. Tyler Hansbrough broke right down the middle of the lane, and then one of the Knicks rotated to stop Tyler from getting a dunk, and then Tyler threw the ball over to the left corner for Troy Daniels' 3. That was made. But all of that was started by Jeremy Lin. And it was just a beautiful play. It was a smart decision by Tyler. And it was a nice play by Jeremy. And again, everything got started because Jeremy drew a double team off the pick and roll. But it was just a terrific play. Then Jeremy was once again fouled on the perimeter. New York in the penalty, which meant 2 free throws for Jeremy, which he made both of them. And then there was a little weird play right near the end of the quarter. Like bunch of players were diving for the ball. And both Jeremy and Frank Kaminsky got bloody noses from that play. So it was just, I don't know, it was like a rugby scrum type of play. And both of them ended up getting dinged up after that play. The end of 3 quarters, now Charlotte had totally broken the game open, 77-56. They're up 21 points. Jeremy Lin, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. So he had 11 points and 1 assist in the quarter. Like I said, he just went crazy in that quarter. Okay? Moving on into the fourth quarter, Jeremy began the fourth quarter on the bench, getting a rest, plus the game seemed like it was under control. And as I noted on Twitter at the time, of the first 36 minutes of the game, Jeremy played 33 of them. So he needed a rest. And he had his nose was bloody too. You could see him talking to assistant coach Steven Silas on the bench. It's not obvious that he was talking to Silas because you basically saw Jeremy leaning back and he was talking behind 2 people. But then once they panned out, it was like, yeah, I bet he's talking to Steven Silas, and that's exactly who he was talking to. It's just that Steven Silas happened to be sitting 3 people away from him. But those 2 were like smiling and laughing. I'm sure they were both feeling pretty good because how the game was going and how Jeremy was doing. Okay, then we move on to the middle of the fourth. The Knicks were making a run. They had cut the 21-point lead down to 11 points. Jeremy comes back into the game with 7 minutes and 15 seconds left. At that point in time, the lead was 14 points, 82-68 for Charlotte, but it was, things were getting a little tense because they were making a comeback, were the Knicks. Then he had another blown assist to somebody, I can't remember who it was to. Then he had his third turnover of the game. He did the move where he drives to the basket in the lane, and then he stops and pivots. They called him for moving his pivot foot, basically like an extra step in there. Thought it was a good call. So that was a third turnover. Then he had his ninth miss of the night. He tried to, I think it was a three-point attempt. I'm not sure. He might have had his foot on the line. Going over the top against Sasha Vujacic. It just missed that. Knicks cut the lead down to 82-72 shortly thereafter. 5 minutes and 35 seconds left. Charlotte took a timeout. You could see Steve Clifford wasn't happy, and it was starting to get a little nervous there down in the arena. Coming out of the timeout soon after, Jeremy hit a three-pointer, and this was very similar to the play in the transition where he hit the three-pointer, but this was not in transition. This was in the half court. Kemba found him. Kemba at the top of the key, essentially, area. Jeremy Lin, 35 degrees right, catches the ball, bang, made three-pointer. That put Charlotte back up by 13 points, kind of started making a little bit more comfortable. Soon after, Jeremy had his fourth turnover of the game. He wanted to drive against Porzingis, but again, he took a step before he started dribbling. And at this point in time, I thought Jeremy was tired. And that's why I think he had these last couple of turnovers. And look, it happens. I mean, you can't be perfect in every single area constantly. Moving on to late in the fourth quarter, Jeremy fouled Sasha Vujacic. It wasn't that meaningful, but I just made a note of it. Then he had his 10th and final miss of the game. He kind of tried to shoot a step back on the right side of the court against Vujacic. And then he had his final turnover of the game, his fifth turnover. He got just, I don't even remember exactly what the play was. I just he got a little too loosey-goosey, and I think they kind of stole the ball from him. But like I said, at this point, I think Jeremy was tired. He was tired. The game was mostly over, and he got a little sloppy, so it caught up with him. And that's pretty much it. So the Charlotte kind of held on, got the victory 97-84. Great win, as we mentioned. And look, definitely in my mind, this is one of the best games of the year for Jeremy Lin. There's no question. Statistically, it is. The team won. He played really, really well. He shot the ball well. And this was basically his night. This was kind of like his night to lead the team, essentially. That's what it was for 3/4 of the game. And as I mentioned before, Kemba let him do it, and so did Steve Clifford. And they made the right decision, and Jeremy came through. So it was just an excellent evening. I think JDV is doing a reaction video. In fact, his video might be up faster than my video, but I'm thrilled. Let's move on to the next game, and hopefully the Hornets can continue to win. They need to win, and it would be great if they did win. That game will be 2 days from now on Monday, January 25th, here in the United States at 10 p.m. Eastern Time against the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, California. And I'm looking at the schedule now. The next 4 games are all on the road, but they're all against teams that are beatable. And Sacramento is a talented team, but they're not a great team. They're a team that's a little undisciplined, and you can beat them. They like to play fast, and hopefully Charlotte will be able to maybe get a guy or two back from injury, and let's go into that game and try to get the win. As I said, with Charlotte now being only 2 games under 500, certainly the short-term goal is to get back to 500. You're 21-23 now, so let's try to get another win as quickly as we can and keep this turnaround on track. Okay? That is all I have to say. So thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. I want to thank Gary Chen for the artwork you're looking at right now. Gary is an artist and blogger in Taiwan. He's also a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group. You can find out more about Gary and Jeremy Only Lin Garden if you follow the information in the video description below the video player. Also there you'll find information for highlights of this game. Finally, there you'll find information about how you can join the Conservative New Media Facebook group and how you can come and follow us on Twitter as well. Once again, I'm PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Just an excellent evening. I mean, for Jeremy Lin fans, it's like the perfect night. He played great. He led the team. The team won. And I couldn't be any happier. Like I said, let's get a good night's rest tonight. I don't know when. I guess the team will probably leave tomorrow for Sacramento, and let's just get ready to play Sacramento, and hopefully we can get a win, and hopefully we can get the road win. And that would just be a terrific for this team to just be able to kind of continue the success that they're having right now. Okay, hope you are having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you're watching this video. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. We will see you in just less than 48 hours from now as the team heads out to Sacramento, California.